Hello and welcome to Bentley Motors headquarters in Crewe. Now specifically actually the former Mulsanne production line, which since that car ceased production in February has been refurbished and it will become the finishing area for all future Bentleys. Now I am thrilled to be joined today, socially distanced of course, by the board members who will talk us through Beyond 100, which will see a 100-year-old company become a leader in sustainable luxury mobility. Now, please send in your questions to the board by using the Ask a Question tab, which should be at the bottom of your screen, and that will be ready for our Q&A session a little bit later on. And just to let you know, there is no embargo today. So let us start though with a recap on the year so far with our Chairman and Chief Executive, Adrian Hallmark. Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Vicky, and thank you.
So, talk us through the year. How's it been?
Well, like for everybody, probably a real roller coaster. Following 2019, when we began the turnaround of the company and successfully got Bentley back into profit, we'd set up for 2020 to be a record year. We had an incredible order bank, a record order bank at the beginning of the year. In fact, quarter one, even despite the second half of March being the beginning of lockdown and the COVID problems, was the best quarter in the company's 100-year history. The next quarter was also a record, but a record loss. And quarter three has bounced back. And as we look toward the end of the year now, we're in pretty good shape compared with the beginning of the year. But that financial impact in quarter two led to major risk for the company. We've had to restructure our operations. You may recall we announced job losses of up to 1,000 people. We've actually agreed just over 800. But I'm delighted to say, even though that's a difficult thing to do, there's only 10 people out of the whole company that are at risk of compulsory redundancy. The rest has all been done through reducing contractors and a voluntary process and then redeploying people into new positions. So we're very proud of the human way in which the whole management team has been able to manage through this crisis. It's been tremendous.
And how is the rest of the year looking now that England has started lockdown today?
Well, before the lockdown, we were looking pretty good, and we still are. With all of the work that we've done so far, we can continue to operate. So we as a company are not in lockdown. We're still operating. We have more than 2,000 people on site and more than 2,000 people working from home. So we can still build cars. We should achieve more than 10,000 sales this year, which is in line with our regular years. And if it weren't for that second quarter loss, we'd be in a really good situation. But in the last quarter, we're now in a position where we could get to break even for the full year. It's not guaranteed, but that is clearly our mission. And the most encouraging thing is that we started the year with the best order bank that we'd had for about 10 years. The order bank today is 60% higher than it was at the beginning of the year. So we're not out of the woods yet. Who knows what will happen next year? There could be more asteroids to come, but as we stand today, our product range is the freshest that it's ever been. All of our models are under 2 years in the market, some just a few months, and we're at this point now where we can capitalize on all that investment and product power that we have over the next 1 to 3 years.
Now, today we are here to talk about the company's sustainability ambitions, so please tell us more about that.
Yep. Well, it's trendy to talk about sustainability, isn't it? But we've been ahead of the trend for a while. So 1999 was the first time we achieved a global first, and that was an ISO accreditation for environmental impact. We're the first car company in the world to get that standard, and we've kept it for 20 years. 2011, we got another standard for energy management, the first car company in the world to achieve that global standard. In 2019, the factory became carbon neutral. And in 2020, in fact today, we've just got the next certificate so that we've got now 2 years proof of carbon neutrality, partly from generating our own energy from solar and partly through buying certified green energy for the rest of our needs. So a big step forward. Next step, of course, is our cars. And we'll be explaining a lot more about that during the course of this conference.
Great stuff. Thank you, Adrian, for the moment. Now, I would like to welcome the board member for engineering now, Dr. Matthias Raber. Matthias, thank you so much for being with us. And can you tell us, please, about your future product launches?
To be honest, Vicki, I cannot tell you so much about that because it's secret, but I can tell you it will be an exciting future. We will have fantastic products and we will deliver outstanding journeys to our customers, really typical Bentleys. But they will be much more sustainable. And what is sustainability? One thing is we are going more to electrify our vehicles. That means next year we will launch 2 plug-in hybrids. Plug-in hybrids at the end is the best of both worlds. That means the customer can decide when to go on internal combustion engine, when to go electrified. And for him individually, he can reduce the fuel consumption massively, especially by charging the car, what our customers, by the way, are doing. That's the first thing. And I can tell you this car really will drive, or both cars will really drive as a typical Bentley, effortless, fun to drive, but really brings the fuel consumption further down. And also in the fleet, with that we are able to reduce the fuel consumption from today to more 25% until 2025. That are the first 2 plug-in hybrids. We will come more plug-in hybrids. And by 2026, we will have all of our cars plug-in hybrid or electric. That's a strong message really in that direction. But it's not only all about powertrain. Also on the material side, we are doing much more. That means we look for sustainable materials. We already today have sustainable material. We look to have for local materials. We try to avoid long transports. And we are looking also for totally new approaches. You see here the Baccarat, and we have some more ideas really with new approaches with vegan material to try out something like that to really get sustainable.
And also you're aiming for a full battery electric vehicle by 2025 as well.
Yeah, Vicki, for sure, the future of Bentley will be fully electric. We are believing in that, and it fits very well to Bentley, to the driving, and it will be full electric. And we are not working only on one car, we are working on a family of electric cars. And the first to come on a totally new platform, a real Bentley, by 2025. And as I said, then 1 year later, we will have only plug-in hybrids or electric car, great Bentley. And for that, or with that, we think we are ready for the future.
Lovely, thank you very much. Now it is time to hear from the board member for sales and marketing, Chris Craft. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Vicki.
Could you kindly build on what Matthias was saying and explain a bit more about why sustainability is becoming increasingly important to customers?
We've all seen the enormous shift that's taken place on this topic over the last few years. But when we look to our audience, they're actively taking responsibility for this. We see it shaping their behaviours, shaping their values, and increasingly, when we look to our market, these people are becoming more values driven. They will align with brands that reflect their own values, and certainly they're not going to be attracted to or be loyal to those brands that aren't. So this is a big shift, and one that we believe we're absolutely in tune with. Of course, the demographics of our customer base is changing. If we look out to 2030, which isn't so far away, as we look at the high net worth individuals, 60% of them will be under 40. They're getting much younger. 35% will be women. We really see that we're in a good position to engage with this customer base. I mean, we start with a brilliant brand, don't we? An amazing brand. Number one in the luxury segment on image, number one on awareness, but we've got this 100-year history, and I think that gives us real authenticity, and we absolutely know that authenticity is something that our future customers really value. So that will help us, we think, going forwards, but the indicators now are very, very strong for the future. If we went back to our centenary last year, you'll recall that we launched our EXP100 GT concept car, a vision of the future, sustainable luxury mobility. We did some research around that before and after the launch of it. And if we look at affluent millennials, we saw an 11% shift in their intent to buy a Bentley. So this is really something quite significant. And amongst the younger audience, in that 18 to 34-year-old category, 45% saying they love Bentley. So that's something that really encourages us. Of course, it's not just about sustainability when we go forwards. The other big shift is the focus that's being put on experience over goods. Another statistic, but millennials, 72% priority on spending on experience rather than goods. And that's something that we very much embrace and are seeking to build for the future. We're setting out to build a platform that will give access to the entire world of Bentley to our future customers. Whether that is digital, whether it is physical, whether it's somebody wanting to purchase their vehicle, or indeed book their extraordinary journey on their tour across Bolivia. This needs to be simple, it needs to be intuitive. That is the way today, it's what we're all accustomed to. But importantly, it's got to be individual. Ultimately, luxury is very much about understanding the individual and serving something up curated very specifically for them.
And then I guess Mulliner will fit in very well with that.
Excellently. As far as we're concerned, Mulliner not only fits with this thing about personalisation and individuality, but we look at luxury for the future. Rarity will still be highly valued, and Mulliner gives us rarity. And I think with the work that we've done over the last couple of years, and of course we've got examples here, we're starting to see the true potential for this as a sub-brand. The classic with our continuation blower, fantastic. The Baccalar over there, our first coach-built car in the current time. That car, absolutely beautiful. Only 12 cars, 1.5 million. Plus taxes, plus options, and our customers want the options, and great demand, sold out, and we know there's potential for more. But Mulliner goes further. We've got the collection series as well. This year we've launched our GT and our GTC version of the Mulliner, the pinnacle of those models, and instantly recognisable as Mulliners now. Real differentiation. But the final point I would make on Mulliner is, yes, we want to excite customers with it. Yes, of course, we want to earn profit from this. And we want to build our brand overall. It gives us a halo. But the other thing, this is a platform for us to go out there and develop new sustainable materials, new craftsmanship, taking Bentley further into the next century. And that is something then that we can take greater value out of further down the line.
Great. Oh, lovely to hear all of that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, Adrian, we were together, not at Geneva, for the reveal of the Baccalar, which is sitting beautifully alongside you there. And it showcases the innovative, sustainable materials that are already here.
I think it's a great demonstration of a number of things, actually. I think, first of all, the speed that we've brought this to reality is incredible. We've also pushed our design limits beyond anything that we were previously comfortable with. It still looks like a Bentley, but not like anyone you've ever seen before. And the beauty of Mulliner, it does allow us to do that with both the design and the materials and the content of the vehicle as a precursor to what we could bring later into production. And Chris mentioned sustainable materials. You'll probably remember the stories about the riverwood, 5,000 years old, buried underground, decomposing, which we've been able to extract, stabilize, impregnate, polish, turn it into a veneer and fit it in the car. So you've actually got a 5,000-year-old veneer, just like an EXP 100 GT. But it also looks amazing. So the future of luxury can be just as inspirational, even more so than in the past, in terms of materials, color, trim, self-expression. But we're going to make sure that we do it in a totally sustainable way. And Mulliner is a fantastic opportunity to push the boundaries in all of these dimensions.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much. Well, we are going to have a very small commercial break now, so we will be back with you very soon. Well, we saw there the capabilities of the coach-built division Mulliner, and I would now like to welcome the board member of finance, Jan Henrik Lafrentz, to talk a little bit more about it. Hi, Jan.
Hi, Vicki.
Now, this is a new direction for Mulliner, and the increasing desire for personalisation must provide financial as well as strategic advantages.
Yeah, absolutely, Vicki. There's a clear trend to personalization. We see a significant uptake in option in our customer orders, and this all gives us the opportunity to create real pinnacle products. Our aim is, of course, to become benchmark in the luxury car industry, to be leader in sustainable luxury, of course highly profitable, yeah, and robust, so we can sustain also current typical external impacts like we currently see. Yeah. We have a great foundation to build on. We have been profitable most of the last 20 years in our business, very profitable. We have an excellent brand, global brand, a great customer base, and really exciting product range currently with very new products on the market. So it's a real good foundation to build on. And now the crisis has led us and taught us also that we have to look a bit more into our cost structure, which we did, and we did embark this year in our biggest change program ever. So this even reinforces our sustainable business case. And this will lay the foundation for the next 100 years. How do we do this? There are three main levers. First, we have to maximize, and we will maximize our opportunities on product and service side, on the revenue side. Then we will use the synergies of the group, which offers outstanding technologies and where we can build on, of course, always delivering a true Bentley. And third, we will digitize our whole processes, the whole company, from purchasing, manufacturing, up to the customer, to the sales, and digitalize our processes. These in combination will give us a really sustainable, profitable business case. And of course, this in a very sustainable approach in an economic, environmental, and social way.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed, Jan. Now, I would like to welcome the board member for People, Digitalisation and IT, Dr. Astrid Fontaine. Hello, Astrid. Now, how much of an increasingly important area is digital for Bentley?
Well, Vicki, as you know, the automotive industry is changing faster than ever before. And the cars we are designing and building today are no longer just to get you from A to B. It is more about, in the future, becoming a tablet on wheels, right? One of the most complex devices for the internet. And also our customers are becoming more and more digital savvy. The way they interact, the expectations they have are not just the extraordinary experiences in the physical world, but also digitally. And then, of course, our employees. Our colleagues have already for the longest time worked with regards to digital tools, for example, when it comes to digital prototyping in the design area. But I think the last months, of course, have shown us all on how much we are now in a digital world regarding our meetings, our interactions, working remotely on a constant basis. So the digital world it's a digital evolution that we are already in the middle of. And in regards to that, we need to be successful. We need the creative thinkers and the digital innovators, but we also heavily depend, of course, on the experience of our colleagues and their curiosity and willingness and courage to go through that change. And in order now to integrate all of these perspectives, and we have to be open to welcome them from people from all walks of life to be successful in this transformation. That's why we're putting so much emphasis on diversity and inclusion and really evolving our culture. So we have all committed that we believe it's important to put the emphasis on the diversity, and for that we have given us the target that by 2025 we want to be at 30% of diversity in our management team, again with people coming from all walks of life. The main topics we are going to address, of course, is on the one hand to encourage young people to get into areas like STEM and technology and digital, which we're doing, for example, in our Future Talent program. But going beyond that on the recruitment side, it is also to allowing our colleagues that we have to upskill and to reskill in topics of our e-academy. And then when it comes to the talent pipeline and to the development opportunities and succession plannings again, making sure that the best people from all walks of life are considered. And then finally, it's about a workplace environment that allows you to be creative, but also to engage. It's about on-site, our Bentley campus, but on the other hand as well, it's about having a remote working opportunity that allows you nowadays to combine all needs into a really satisfactory work environment and a career. So in the end, I think it's all about for Bentley to become really the employer of choice. And as such, being driven by our clear brand values, vision and mission, and our values to align with our customers when it comes to sustainability, innovation and collaboration, which I believe are more important in this digital world than ever before.
Yeah, lovely to hear that. Thank you so much, Astrid. Thank you. And Adrian, how invested is Crewe to delivering these values?
Well, we've been around here since the mid-30s, so we don't intend to move anytime soon. In fact, evidence of that, if we look over the road, we're just in the process of finishing 2 new research and development buildings. One will be office space, essentially for the development of electrified technologies and the new autonomized and connected services that we'll be developing. And the other is a test facility. And whilst it will begin testing conventional powertrains, it's fully capable to then be converted to test electrical powertrains and systems. So we're preparing for the future. We're also in the process of adopting the 2 roads around the site and creating a huge internal campus. Same footprint as we've had before, but now a pure Bentley environment that sets us up well for the future. So yeah, Bentley is our home, we're fully committed, and we're preparing for that digital electrical charge forward.
And also, you are the first luxury automotive factory in the world to be certified carbon neutral. So things are going well here.
Well, yeah, and it's very important. You know, we'll talk in a moment about cars and about the neutralisation of CO2 from the vehicles themselves and the tailpipes. But we've already taken great steps to neutralise the CO2 on our production by both taking our own energy from the solar farm down the road and buying green energy to replace what else we need. And as I said earlier, for 2 years now we've been certified carbon neutral, but that's only the beginning. We have a lot further to go, and I'll explain that in a moment.
Well, here in Crewe, I have seen the living wall, the tree and the flower planting areas all around. And I also know that you have a seemingly huge number of bees at 300,000, yet the Bentley honey is almost as rare as the bacala.
Well, this is the essence of luxury. We want to be a role model for luxury and diversity, and we've achieved that. And it's the finest honey around, for sure. But we've also been checking out how many we have and how much they produce, and we're going to run a lean program to see if we can improve their productivity a little bit, as Jan said about our factory. But we already are CO2 neutral as a factory. Our mission now is to make our total enterprise carbon neutral and the factory carbon positive, i.e. absorb more or offset more than we actually create. And that really is part of this future push for sustainability. But it also means every material that we use within the factory and within the products will systematically, if they're not already sustainable, systematically over the next 5 to 10 years, as the technology allows, we'll be straight there, first in line, with more world first to be sustainable and ethical in everything we do.
Well, it is clear to me, listening to everybody talk so passionately today, that sustainability is absolutely critical for the next 100 years for Bentley.
Yeah. We actually think it's an opportunity as well, not a threat. I've talked about what we did back in 1999. And, you know, as a small company, it's much easier to offset your CO2, to make your supply chain transparent and sustainable than it is for a bigger organization. So we need to grab that opportunity, and we will. And we have to transform everything we do. Our cars in the future will look as inspirational and as glorious as they do today. And whilst we're already very proud of their improvements in CO2 and the sustainability of the woods and the leathers and all the materials we use, we're going to remove any question mark from all of those future products, because now the technology and the traceability is possible. It wasn't 10 years ago. So we're on a mission. The group is committed to support the Paris 2-degree target in terms of climate heating. We will play our part in that. And it's not a race, but we don't want to be last. I'm not saying we'll be first, but we're definitely not going to be last in the group. And just to recap on what that means, you've heard some messages today, but when you wrap them up simply, it's quite profound what we need to change, basically everything. We want to create a carbon neutral company end to end by 2030. We'll make sure that the products from 2026, everything we offer, will be electrified, only electrified, either plug-in hybrid with a credible range or a BEV. And by 2030, no more combustion engines. I'll just repeat that. A 100-year-old company that's renowned for the best 12-cylinder and most successful 12-cylinder in the world will not be building engines in less than a decade. This is profound change for the industry, and we want to lead that change. We're not frightened by it, we're inspired by it. So all of this wrapped together is what we call Beyond 100. That's the core of our strategy. And the most important thing is not to just make electric cars. It's not just to make sustainable cars. We've got to make Bentleys. And we've got to take that 100 years of DNA and transfer that into a modern context through design, through content, but we'll make sure we maintain all the wonderful things that people buy in our brand. The craftsmanship, the potent design, the effortless performance, and that total feeling of being in something extraordinary, magical, on an everyday basis, which only Bentley offers the way we do.
I think it's time I should mothball some of your 12 cylinders. Thank you very much. Thank you for now, Adrian. Now we're just a few moments away from our Q&A session, so please send in any questions that you have got using the Ask a Question tab at the bottom of your screen. And now it is time for a recap on our Bentley headlines. Well, I have managed to get all the band back together again, and it is time for the Q&A session, and we will start with our first question, and that is to Adrian. Adrian, the government is not particularly happy about the hybrid, the hybrid issue coming in by 2030. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's been a good debate. I think one of the benefits of lockdown is that we've had incredible dialogue on a regular basis with various government ministers about the road to zero. Probably more so than if we hadn't been in lockdown, because we all had the time and the teams to be able to do it. And whilst at the beginning there was a lot of resistance from government to accept hybrids as part of the solution, I think what we're seeing now is a shift to some extent in their opinions on hybrids. I mean, if you look at the figures from SMMT today on October registrations, hybrids and BEVs are up 160 to 200% year on year. Customers love them because for those people that can't live with an electric car for a regular commute because they're too expensive to buy, or they can't charge them, or the range and their type of usage doesn't allow them to charge them quickly enough, then a hybrid is a perfect solution. And we know from our figures on our hybrid fleet, because we can get the data, that we can see a 30 to 50% of the time of pure electric use. In my case, it's 60 to 70% with the pattern of usage that I do. So it is a part of the solution, and we're lobbying for an overlap. So whenever the deadline is for banning combustion engine sales, we're advocating an overlap so that hybrids are allowed to be sold for longer until everybody can afford and charge and live with the range of a BEV. and I think we're now getting through. And I'm not being complacent when I say that. It's been a good debate, a passionate debate, but I think they are listening to the arguments, and we trust that the right decisions will be made.
Great, lovely, thank you very much. And see if our next question has come through. So are Bentley's existing customers ready to ditch their 12-cylinder engines? And Chris, I will turn to you for this one.
Well, my first response would be not immediately, we hope. So we've got a little way to go. Yeah, you know, our 12-cylinder engine is absolutely fantastic. It's the most advanced in the world, and our customers love it. If I look at our mix of sales today, 50% of customers ordering their car have been choosing a W12, so very important to us. But of course, we're planning for the future. Yeah, again, through our research, our customers, 55% of them say they would definitely consider buying an electric Bentley in the next 5 years. And that is perfect timing, I think. So we're on a transition. We've got a lot of mileage left in the W12 yet, but clearly we know where we're going. But I think the key thing here is just the scale of the shift that we're talking about achieving. So, the biggest manufacturer of W12, of 12-cylinder engines in the world, and suddenly all electric by 2030. So this really is a transformation for the business.
Yeah, big step, definitely. Matthias, I will ask you now, do you think the electric range offered by today's plug-in hybrids is enough? Will Bentley's future hybrids go further on a full charge?
Now, first of all, we offer today with our range a good flexibility for our customers. That means in urban areas he can go electric, then he can go between cities, he can go on internal combustion engine, and entering the city again, he can go electric. And the car is doing that itself, for example, based on the navigation system. That means we offer already today a good flexibility. For future, for sure, we want to create more range, we will have it. And but with this integrated approach for the customer, he can get it for very good CO2 values, very low fuel consumption. And now we are on a good way with this.
Thank you. And the next question for Jan. Can you quantify the cost of the COVID crisis to Bentley, and will you be able to recover it?
Yes, Vicki, the cost is not the most important topic we are faced with. Of course, we have additional costs. We do a very intensive testing program in the factory, but I think this is very well invested. So that's not the issue. It's more about the lost revenue opportunity. We planned for significant growth this year. And we are on the right track in Q1, and we are on a good track Q3 and Q4, but Q2, of course, of the lockdown, basically global lockdown with 95% of all dealers closed, of course, we missed this revenue opportunity. This is a bit the downside of in our economic business model with the crisis. But we are on a good way to recover that, and we are pretty positive for next year on this. What's also very important is in these moments is that we are generating our own cash flow, and we have been the whole year, each month, cash flow positive this year. So I think this is a really good indicator that the business model is stable.
Thank you very much. And a question for Astrid now. The automotive industry still seems to suffer from a lack of gender diversity, and what are you doing to encourage women into Bentley?
Okay. Well, Vicki, as I mentioned, for us, the topic diversity, first of all, is about people from all walks of life. But if you ask me specifically about women, from my perspective, it's twofold. It's on the one hand to engage them in the future skills we need in the automotive industry. So to get them enticed in regards to the technical skills, for example, the new fields when it comes to software development, let it be user interface design or social media. And on the other hand, it is as well to create a work environment where they can thrive, where they can combine all expectations and needs in their family and in their private setting with a career as well. And I think what will help here is currently the remote working, having more flexibility. So I think the combination of getting them in the right skills, getting them interested in our work environment, and offering them a career path where they can combine their lifestyle, I think that's really what it will drive. And then overall, of course, from us, that we are fully committed to a diversity in our management and succession planning, where we will, of course, have a chance to bring the best talents forward.
Great, lovely, thank you very much. So our next question is to Adrian. How does motorsport fit with your sustainability ambitions?
Well, I think first of all, motorsport is at the foundation of the brand. In fact, the car over there is a great example of that, the Team Birkin blower, which we're all very proud of. I think if I look to the future, just like we've talked about with our production cars, running regular combustion engine vehicles in motorsport clearly doesn't fit with that sustainability future. But motorsport does. So the question is, how do we shift from this type of racing to a more sustainable type of racing, and in what timescale? And that timescale is largely driven by the technology available. For us, we wouldn't want to go sprint racing, because that's not Bentley, it's endurance. So a 24-hour electric race or hydrogen race would be fantastic, but you need 24 cars or a lot of batteries to keep it going.
Yeah.
So it's a way off before that's possible. But we are already starting research and discussing with the organisers and regulators of motorsport to look at how can that be converted by changing fuels for existing cars, but also developing new technologies. So watch this space.
I will, very closely. Next question is for Chris. Electric powertrains are fundamentally the same. How do you define Bentley in this new age where every brand is targeting CO2 neutral, zero emission vehicles?
Are they all the same, would be my question. At the end of the day, I mean, I think the idea of an electric Bentley absolutely fits in the first place. You know, we have always produced cars that have got this phenomenal torque, and it gives that seamless, effortless progression. And we can deliver that absolutely with electric motion, because that fits huge torque from the motors. But this is where, in our approach to the development of the product, we will continue to make sure it is absolutely, truly a Bentley. As Matthias was saying earlier.
And the next question is for Matthias. Does your 2025 launch date for an EV indicate that you believe a step change in battery tech will have occurred by that date? Or do you anticipate using evolved versions of the tech on sale today? And what are the parameters required for a Bentley in terms of range and home charging?
No, basically, I don't see a step change for 2025. The battery technology is steadily evolving. Yeah, that means we have a better energy density, better power density, faster to recharge, and also to bring the cost down. And 2025 will be a big step, because we then have access also to a new platform, which really makes us able to create a really Bentley, also with a characteristic Chris was describing, with this effortless driving, with the space, all that is really Bentley. But anyway, as I said, there will be an ongoing process on the battery technology. But it's not only the battery, it's also for the Bentley driver is important, or the question was also what's important for that car. The car, we have to look for the weight, we have to look for the aerodynamic on the car, and we have to deliver also for the customer an experience, especially when charging, a good experience. That means we have to find this holistic approach, and we will find.
Thank you. Next question is for Jan. How will Bentley handle the impact of Brexit, including duties, etc.?
Yeah, Vicki, of course, the impact will be substantial, at least with a no-deal Brexit. And we have impact on the cost side, importing material into the UK. We have impact on the duty side when we export cars. And depending on how the economy in the UK develops, maybe a demand impact also, but it's difficult to project. We have prepared us for this scenario, and I think we have, as explained earlier, a pretty robust, sustainable business model, so we can manage that. But of course, it doesn't help. Yeah. And we are looking for all opportunities to reduce the impact to the minimum. Cost reduction, of course, we have to discuss pricing when we have duty on our cars, but also duty compensation. When we import parts, we pay duty. When we export the cars, we get duty back. So maximize this benefit out of it, so to minimize the impact for the company. It's pretty complex, and of course, a deal Brexit will help enormously, but we are prepared also for a no-deal one. Also, we really don't want it.
Okay, thank you. Adrian, this one is for you. Are you confident that every market you operate in will have the necessary infrastructure and acceptance of electric vehicles to phase out internal combustion engines by 2030, or could you continue to offer them in markets that allow internal combustion engines? First
part of the question, pretty much yes. there's a lot of myths and legends about electrification, like there's not enough power in the grid. There is. It may not be in the right places, that's true. So if you look at where the power is and where it needs to be, I mean, you imagine going down to Cornwall with another 50,000 people and all pulling up at the services and having to charge up for 20 minutes with 500 cars, you've got a problem. So it's not going to be overnight. And that's, if you look at around the world, I think China will be one of the lead countries for this because they're building cities so fast and they plan them in such a way that the infrastructure is ready made in these new cities and in the extensions. So I think most of our major markets, US, China, continental Europe, UK of course, South Asia for sure, Middle East actually are amongst the most progressive anti-combustion engine legislators now in the world. So all of the countries and regions that you'd have thought would be hanging on as long as possible tend to be in the same mindset as us, that we've just got to transform. The only thing I would say that there is for aeroplanes and heavy vehicles, the whole notion of e-fuels, fuels that are created from taking CO2 out the atmosphere, processing them with other elements, and then turning them into liquids that can be used in conventional engines and shortening the CO2 cycle. It doesn't reduce CO2, but it doesn't add any more in. This could be the solution for aircraft and also for all legacy vehicles on the road and maybe some continuation vehicles. But we're not gambling on that because that would require massive infrastructure as well. And I think the electrical infrastructure, charging, etc., and distribution of energy is far more feasible and likely to happen in that timescale than a whole infrastructure for e-fuels for cars.
Great, thank you for that. Matthias, to you, how do you see Bentley's design language evolving?
Yeah, first of all, design is extremely important for us in Bentley. Yeah? That's purchase reason number one. And for us, it's very important that we have a design DNA that every Bentley is unmistakably is understandable as a Bentley. Yeah? It means even if you would remove the badge, the car has to be recognized as a Bentley, where we are very strong today. Our design today stands for a combination of performance, of luxury, craftsmanship, just to name some of that. And we will evolve that, and it will be a fantastic design. We see it sometimes in the board, it will be fantastic, but it will be not a revolution. Every Bentley in the future will be also directly seen as a Bentley, but it will be cool, it will be much more modern, interesting design.
Interesting indeed, yeah. Astrid, this one is for you. Is sustainability as relevant in a society shaped by pandemic and economic collapse as it is in one with economic predominantly in growth?
Well, I think for us sustainability is way beyond just the view of environmental. So we see the sustainability topic regarding the economic growth of a company or the environment, but also social and environmental. So I think what we have seen over the last couple of months, we all have gone through this pandemic collapse of countries. And what we have seen is that never before has been so much emphasis on social support, let it be the small acts of kindness to full-blown company programs. And I think what it has shown is what this humanity can really be if we let it. And we have put a lot of emphasis in it over the last couple of months, from the engineers stepping up within a day or two to starting and creating face shields, to any kind of donations from PE materials to topics of driving Meals on Wheels. And it's really, I do believe, a fundamental value for us at Bentley to help people in need and bringing life advances.
Thank you, Astrid. Next question for Chris. How much is the shift to electric driven by regulation and how much by customer demand?
Right, okay. Well, I won't pretend that it's not driven by regulation, because of course it is. But definitely we see the demand from the customers. I mean, I mentioned earlier, 55% of customers saying they would want to buy an electric Bentley in the next 5 years. So that's a positive signal. But let me give a bit more colour to it, because I'm in particular customer out in the States who I took around for the factory tour one day. And I mean, he's bought 2 Bentleys from us during the course of this year. and he says to me, Chris, these cars are fantastic, but I have an electric car as well, unnamed brand. When are you going to do an electric car? I want an electric car. It fits. There is demand there for an electric Bentley, no question.
Thank you. And Adrian, one for you here. Will you return to the top of the luxury segment with a successor to the Mulsanne once you go fully electric?
Wait and see.
Fair enough.
I think the point I would make is that the market for big sedans the segment of big sedans is an interesting segment. It's changed a lot over the past 20 years. It's not in growth phase. So whilst we have a great heritage in that space, we have a perfect sedan with a flying spur. So let's see what evolves as we release and reveal our electric car strategy.
Thank you for that. And I think we have got one final question now, and Adrian, this is for you. No, not quite. Well, I think that might be it. Yes, I think that is it. Well, thank you very much indeed, everybody. And thank you all for sending in your questions. If we have not been able to answer them today, then you will be pleased to know that the communications team will get back to you personally when they can. Thank you very much indeed for joining us from your home, from your office, wherever you have been. Thank you. And a huge thank as well to all of our board members, to Matthias, Astrid, to Jan, to Chris and to Adrian. Thank you very much indeed. So we will leave you now with a look at Bentley's most recent driving event, the magically titled Toy Box.
When the day turns into night, it's you. Well, everything can go to pieces. I don't care. As long as you're there. Like the sun kisses the clouds, it's game on. Racing past we get along. Help me paint the picture. Like the sun kisses the clouds, it's game on. I'm a clenched fist in the rain for you. I'm mental patient, half insane.